how to set realistic goals for your first marathon. Let's talk about that right now. I'm Rob Tatro. This is my brother Charlie. We are co-hosts of a podcast, The Running Journey, right on this YouTube channel. But we also both went from not running to running our first marathon to running several marathons where we qualified for Boston. And setting that goal for your first marathon, it's hard. And I know that a lot of people often ask you how to do it. What would be some tips that you would consider for anyone who's starting out and is setting a goal for their marathon? How should they know if they're going to try to do a 5-hour marathon or a 4.5 or a 4, or even if they should just go by feel or by what would be a good tip that you would give them?
Yeah, I guess it depends on their goals, but if you want to get a good time, let's say you want to get your best possible time based on your condition, run a half marathon about a month and a half or 2 months before your marathon. That'll give you a bit of an indicator of where your fitness is. Plug that number into some kind of race equivalency calculator. There's some called Luke Humphrey Running, or there's tons of them out there on the internet. And since it's your first marathon, add about 5% to your time. So 10, 15 minutes.
Double it?
Of what? No. So the calculator will double it and maybe add 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then what you want to do is add another 5% because it's your first marathon and it's going to be hard.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Do you encourage individuals to maybe, let's say, run at their pace for a certain distance and see how they feel? So if they've been training at, 10-minute miles to try to see if they can do that to start and then maybe slow it down? Or do you encourage someone to start slower than they've been running and then to try to pick up in the second half? What would your preference be?
Yeah. So setting a goal is one thing. Pacing it out is another thing. So to me, let's say you set your goal as 4 hours, okay? 9:04 minutes per mile. You want to start off about 20 seconds slower than that and feel it out is what I would do. Feel it out, start off 20 seconds. The benefits of saving your energy in the first half of the race will far, far outweigh the time that you might lose of going at a slightly slower pace. And as you progress and you start feeling it out, you will get closer to the finish line and you'll know a little bit more what you need to do to finish the race. And at that point, you can change your pace as you get. But by having started 20 seconds slower than what your goal pace is, you will be feeling good psychologically, for one. And if you are in shape, you will be able to speed up at the end to achieve that goal, as opposed to if you went out, let's say you thought you could do it in 4 hours and you start off at 9:04, but really you're not in the condition to do it at 9:04. What'll happen is you will blow up and take 11 minutes a mile for the last 8 miles, and it'll be really painful. So
it'll be excruciatingly difficult. It'll be mentally tough, and you're never going to want to run another marathon again. Yeah. Now, is 20 seconds too much to make up? Like, how many miles are you talking about here? Kind of 4 or 5 miles to feel it out at first?
Yeah, feel it out first 4 or 5 miles. If it feels relatively easy, then you can kind of slowly get up to that 9:04 per mile, and then you'll be a minute or two behind. Just keep it up, gain a couple seconds a mile, and then at the end, if you're feeling good, like those last easy miles, if you can run a negative, the best way to run a personal best for me, and I think it's been kind of proven out for the marathon, that personal bests are run as negative splits. And maybe it's not a physiological reason or it's a psychological reason, is if you're feeling fresh at the end, you can really make up a lot of time in a marathon.
Yeah. So a negative split means that your time for your second half is faster than your time for your first half. So you split the race in two. You have a first split and a second split, and the negative split would be faster second half than first half, which kind of was unheard of back in the day when people were running. But you and I have done a bunch of negative split races.
Yeah, and the only way you can do a negative split is by kind of going a little slower at the beginning, and you're getting these free miles that just don't cost you any energy, right? We've
gone through kind of our last, we'll call it 3 races. We had a sub-4 goal. When we were in Tucson, we wanted to run sub-4, and it was a tough, for me, it was very tough. You ended up doing 3:56, I did 3:58, but we did a negative split there. Then we had a kind of a 3:30 goal in Las Vegas, and that we ended up feeling really strong on a good day, with a bit of downhill, and we ended up feeling good, and we crushed our negative split. We ended up doing 3:23, and then obviously our Boston Marathon qualifying, we had a kind of 3-hour stretch goal, and there was just, you start slow, you build up, and you ran a 1:20.
I was 9 minutes. I was 9 minutes faster in the second half. You would be surprised if you're in the condition to run that marathon, and if you've gone a little too slow at the beginning, Yeah, you might feel like you're losing time, but you're not losing that much because you're going to gain it back at the end.
And you're gaining it up here, right?
Yeah.
You're feeling that much stronger mentally. So setting realistic goals for your first marathon. The other thing I would say, the last tip I would do as well is if you're doing a weekend run where you're going either a long run or you're pushing yourself for a tempo run on the weekend, maybe you're doing that as part of your training. Maybe you're stretching out a period of 3, 4, 6, 8 miles or something like that on the weekend as part of a warm-up cool down. Make that your marathon pace and give you an idea for how that's going to feel. Because you don't want to get to a race day and the first time you've ever run that pace is race day. You're not going to be ready for it and it's going to be very difficult. So I would strongly advise, if you're setting a goal, whether it's 4 hours or 5 hours or 3 hours, to run some tempo miles, some fast miles on your weekend run in the month or two leading up to your race.
But don't do them all. Like, it'll be too hard. Just do Just do a few because they'll feel hard. They'll feel hard during your training, but don't forget, race day, everything's easier.
The crowd, the testosterone, the adrenaline for us anyways, and just the excitement of the day makes it all go. So there you go, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out our videos. Check out our podcast, The Running Journey. It's Charlie and I's journey from overweight regular dudes to qualifiers for the Boston Marathon. Today, we talked about setting realistic goals for your first marathon. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you in the next video.